Hello everybody, this is CJ Wiley with more adventures off the road. I'm going into the forest here in outside Sanford, North Carolina. Get a little fresh air, really to celebrate this day. I tell you, I was in a drugstore earlier getting some stuff, and I went back to the bathroom, and there was this old guy I had to wait a minute, and first thing I noticed was he had a gun on him, which actually makes me feel quite safe, but he was probably in his 80s, and so, I had some news earlier that I think I might have been glowing a little bit, because he goes over and sits down. He says, "Oh man, I got to take some weight off these old bones." And he looked at me, he said, "Man, I remember what it was like to be young and strong." And I said, "I'm not as young as I look." And he said, "Really?" And he's kind of evaluating me. I said, "Take a guess. How old do you think I am?" He said, "You're not a day over 35. And I said, "Well, that's nice." I said, "But you're about 23 years off." He goes, "No way." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "I tell you my secret, though. Every night that I go home, I walk around the block 3 times backwards, and it runs down the miles." And he's busted out laughing. He was like, "Man, I've never heard that one before." It's like, "Man, you mean I told an 83-year-old man or whatever something he'd never heard before?" That's awesome. But anyway, I was stoked because I talked to Keith McCready, the Grady seasons from The Color of Money. Man, Keith and I go way back. We have traveled with a lot of the same people, same mentors, more than I even knew. He traveled with Brian Hishimoto, who was Dalton Leone's partner. And I've told you guys about Dalton being one of my main mentors, and really was responsible for getting me into the martial arts as seriously as I did, because he had me reading, The Way of the Samurai and Zen and the Art of Archery, and he did Tai Chi every day, and he used to like to do them in parks as well. But it was cool talking to Keith. Of course, he knows Omaha John. He played Omaha. He has a story about that. See, Omaha John was one of the best money players of his era, and really pretty much unknown. But I'm telling you, he might go 3 days and never make a mistake on a bar table. And played just a hair under Matlock. He actually beat Matlock, I think, with the call 8 out of about 70 or 80,000, and so he was as good as just about any of them. Buddy Hall was maybe just a hair better, maybe, but John was exceptional. But John used to jump on the bus and from Omaha when he was 16 and go out to LA, so I knew he got a lot of seasoning out there around Keith. And Keith said he gave him the 6-ball and had him beat, and something happened. I'm going to let Keith tell you the story. But and John came back and beat him, but I think they played several times, not with the 6-ball. I think John, as he got better, the game got a little closer, and I don't even know how they ended up, but again, Keith will tell you. But he ran with Brian Hishimoto. He was also Rodney Morris's mentor from Honolulu, Hawaii. He has a pool room, or did, Hawaiian Brian's. You may have heard of that. I've been out there a few times. Got some cobwebs. Man, look at this. Man, it's so serene out here. You can hear the birds. Yeah, this is, I recommend everybody get out and do a little walk in the You know, there's parks in every city, and they don't cost any money, so you know, it's just a good way to kind of clear your mind. But back to Keith. So anyway, Keith and I are going to do a podcast, and I talked to him a while ago, and we're going to do it at 2 o'clock tomorrow, but we're going to tape this one and release it at more of a prime time, and we're gonna have a lot of good stuff, and I think we can definitely do more than one if he's up for it, and you know, share some of this history that's between our ears about some of the all-time greats like Ronnie Allen and Jimmy Reed, and God, there's Sergio, little Sergio, and you know, like I said, Omaha John. I mean, I could make a list very, very long of the players that we know and have both played or been around, been on the road with, and I mean, had some big ups and downs. I mean, when you're a road player like we were, you know, there were rags and riches in that lifestyle, and I was one of the fortunate ones, and Keith, of course, was too. I think he was 26 when he got discovered at the U.S. Open to be in the color of money as Grady seasons. And, you know, if you've ever seen Keith, he's got a lot of charisma, man. He's quite the entertainer. But another thing that just happened was I did a audition today for something that I really can't talk about, but it was with a group in Los Angeles, and that's where Keith is from. You know, all this stuff's connected. I was telling my partner Casey earlier when I called him to tell him about you know, that we were going to do that audition, because he talked to the guy first, but I noticed the time was 3:37, which has meaning to me. You know, I'm not big into numerology, but I do notice numbers, and I've always been fascinated with numbers, and, you know, very mathematically inclined, which certainly contributed to my pool game. So 3:37. So then after the audition, I called him to, because he was in on it. You know, we were you know, doing a three-way, but the audition was just between me and the man. And so I called him to, you know, ask him what he thought. And when I dialed the number, I hadn't even noticed before, but the first three numbers in his phone number is, guess what? 337. Wow, look at this. Wow, I hear something over there. A friend of mine, Bill Rousey, was just hiking, I don't even know where he was, up in Idaho or Wyoming, Montana, I don't know, but he came across a bear, and the bear came bolting down this hill and went right by him, and he filmed it as it was going down the hill, and it went down to where there's some water at the bottom, and the bear jumped in the water and was swimming around. It was really cool. That was on Facebook. If you know Bill Rousey, man, check out his Facebook. You'll get a kick out of that. But it looked a lot like this. I mean, look how far down that goes. Huh? It's opening it up a little bit. You can really see, I think, I don't know what your perspective is, but man, it goes way down there. You can see the sun coming through. So anyway, I just wanted to give everybody an update that's following along. You know, there's going to be a movie come out of this. I've been not planning it, but I've been anticipating it for a number of years, you know, and it's cool to see it all come to fruition. And talking to the guy that's in the color of money, I mean, there's just so many signs, you know, between the numbers and the signs and the people, and just the feel of pocket billiards really great gaining momentum, you know. I mean, Matchroom's doing some big stuff, but which helps, you know. I mean, they're not going down the path I want to go down. But, you know, every little bit helps, you know, whoever you are. You know, if you're promoting pool, that's what we all used to do back in the 90s when I was on the pro tours. You know, there's a lot of promoters among the pool players, like Jeanette Lee and Earl Strickland and Mike Sigel, and of course Steve Miserak and Alan Hopkins. And, you know, we all chipped in, and we did a lot of charity events. I don't know how many different charity events I did just in LA alone, lots of them. Before every tournament, we'd do some kind of AIDS benefit or something like that, and meet a lot of Hollywood stars. And I could go over that list, which is pretty cool to be able to play with them and meet them. And like I said, I see a pool movie forming, and I can't wait. Actually, I don't think I'm going to have to wait. So if you, you know, want to let your friends and fellow pool enthusiasts know, tell them to join my YouTube channel, CJ Wiley. Just do a search, it'll come up. And if you join and then hit that little bell, which will notify you when I'm going live and when I have new videos out. And then you'll be able to see some of the stuff coming up, like with Keith McCready, and we got several players that I'm going to interview and share their road stories with, and, you know, just have a lot of fun. That's what it's all about. You know, I'm having fun now with pool. Man, I went for a while where, man, it just seemed like every tournament I went to was, I don't know, it just wasn't a good energy, you know, and it seems like all they care about now is the Calcuttas, and the tournament directors are involved with the Calcuttas, and, you know, they're, I don't even want to get into the negativity, but that is not where pool needs to be going. And I'm glad to have some, you know, influence over it. And like I said, you can help. Just, you know, if you just promote these videos and tell people what we're doing, and go to shooterdare.com. That's where the new game is. That's really what we're going to launch. We were going to do it earlier in Delaware, but it just wasn't right. There's too many signs. Like I said, I read those signs, and if things don't look good, you know, I pull up immediately. And that's, you know, from being a professional gambler, you got to know when to quit. You got to know when to change the game, renegotiate. All of that stuff's really important. So that's why it helps to have that pool hall degree in any kind of business. So anyway, look how far that goes down. I don't know if you can see it. A little later in the evening than I usually go out. Just got to dodge the cobwebs, but I don't know. Not a big fan of spiders, but they seem to get out of the way. So, I'm excited. I hope you are too. Man, this is going to be great for everybody that loves pool. You know, pool deserves its moment in the spotlight. I'm talking about major spotlight. And, you know, there's a lot of us that learned important lessons from that game. And you know why. Because the game is the teacher.